Welcome back, everybody. I am so glad to have with us Jamie Pima, and we are going to hit finances today a little bit. Jamie has, as I've already told you in the introductory recording, but I will remind you, a amazing background managing people's millions and billions of dollars, right, Jamie? And now you're helping people with divorce, right?
Yeah, sure am. Definitely a change in tack, so to speak.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. So, just so everyone knows, Jamie also went through his own difficult divorce, which I think is oftentimes, that's not my personal story, but it is many people's personal stories as to trying to help be a problem solver in this messy, kind of hard area. So, we are going to talk about AI and tech tools, and there's so much reliance. I know I literally today, no joke, started looking at what is this new thing called? What's the new one? Not ChatGPT, but some new one. I'm just hearing
Claude?
Claude, right. So, I don't know if I'm getting dangerous with AI too, right? I'm like, "Okay, tell me what's the difference here? How do I do these things? What are frame it for us. What's happening with tech tools and divorce?"
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up because I'm a new adopter of Claude myself. I've been using
Okay.
Claude for probably 2 or 3 months now, and the way that I would frame the difference between ChatGPT and Claude is ChatGPT is the minor league baseball, and Claude is the professional level. There's so much you can do with it. Once you start leveraging these tools and resources, there's no turning back. AI is not the future; it is the present. If we're not absorbing it and learning more about it and trying to find ways to impart it into our daily lives, both professionally and personally, we are going to be left in the dust.
Does AI have you ever seen AI mess up math? Like, is it like, I know about the fear of hallucinations or the risk of hallucinations when it comes to
Hmm.
law, and that's pretty well established, and I would be so careful with that.
Yeah.
Like, does it hallucinate in other ways? Like, that's just like making stuff up, right? Or coming up with its own conclusions?
It does. I'm trying to think. It hasn't happened in any of the cases that I've been a part of. I mean, there may be of one scenario where we were trying to calculate the coverture fraction
Mhm.
as it relates to
Like, on
the
retirement or
division of
pension.
assets.
Yeah.
Yeah, retirements and pensions, which is basically, the number of days somebody was employed versus the number of days that they were in the marriage, so we can
Yeah.
determine what is marital property for those that are listening.
Yeah.
And we had wanted it to do down to the number of days, and they went to years, so that the numbers are skewed a little bit. But I was able to pick up on that and self-correct, and that was a problem. But that's the only thing I've seen so far, to be honest.
How would you say that people can both rely on AI and be afraid of it making mistakes? I mean, I know because I use it,
Yeah.
that's
Hmm.
possible, but for somebody who hasn't really thought about it, it just seems like a scary machine doing its thing, some brain, but then when we warn people, well, it might be wrong.
Yeah.
To me, there's areas, you know, I'll do things like, for example, like in my spare time, I'm opening a shop right now, which is insane and stupid, but I will do things like, hey, draw me a flyer, draw me a sign, or write me a podcast outline,
Yeah.
things that like, it doesn't really, I'm not citing to a case, right?
Sure.
So
Sure.
it's
Yeah.
safer, or like, give me a work plan for my week, right? It's not like life or death. I can tell, there's ways I can do things faster, or show me the research on this so I can look into it myself. Those all
Hmm.
seem like quite safe, but where are those areas where it gets dangerous? Like, how do you rely on it?
Yeah. I mean, we just had it. We do a lot of pension evaluations, particularly for the in health plan evaluations, particularly for the state of Alaska. We've probably done 25 of them in the last few months, and there have been a few instances where, because now I have so much knowledge of the plans and so on and so
Right.
forth, I'll ask, like, hey, just check my work, make sure we're in the right tier, we're using this thing and that thing to validate, we're not putting any client information in there, but we're given the parameters. And sometimes it'll come back and I'm like, well, hey, let's not forget that this person is in tier 1 versus tier 3. Does that change, your validation, our argument? because I may have to testify to this in 2 weeks. So we want to make sure we're accurate. And say,
Yeah.
oh yes, thank you for flagging that. Let's go
Yeah.
back, and then it'll pick up. So
Yeah.
you're if you're using it, you better damn well be sure that if you testify in court, you've at least cited your sources, and you have a reference for where you're getting your information for sure. So we've got the soft launch
Okay.
going. Yep,
That's great.
we actually met with the dev team this morning for 2.5 hours to talk about the roadmap as far as the states go. So we'll be rolling out that. So we'll be nationwide by the end of the year.
Well, that's great. We have a lot of
Um,
national listeners, so that's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
I will definitely
So
put that in the show notes and everything. So that's great.
100%, 100%. We launched a consumer version a few months ago in beta. We tested it out for 2 or 3 months we had users in there using it. It was called our essentials version of SecureSplit, under the SecureSplit umbrella,
Okay.
and like our essentials toolkit. And basically what that is, and we're going to relaunch in July, this summer, with some new functionality. We're going to have a directory in there, vetted professionals, so on and so forth. So we're going to make it a little bit bigger than we originally planned. But that's a tool that some of your listeners can access here in the next couple of months, which is going to allow them to just get some education, like run some preliminary numbers, like not get like you can't export forms to the courts like you could do with a professional version. You can't it's not all the bells and whistles, so it's not going to take away from the work
Yeah.
that professionals do, but it's going to give consumers an opportunity to go, because there's really no tools out there that do this, right? Like
Yeah.
you have My Family Wizard, you have Detour Life. There's a couple others that are out there that a lot of professionals are using now, but it's a lot of post-divorce financial stuff, like how the parents can split cost for little Johnny and little Susie to go to ballet and Little League, right? And
Mhm.
monitor those costs and manage costs later. But there's really nothing out there that says, okay, well, I'm getting a divorce in the state of Colorado. Here's all my details. What
Yeah.
am I going to be on the hook for, support wise?
Did anything surprise you in your own divorce going through that of gaps you're now trying to fill?
The biggest one I think the biggest surprise to me, and I'm going to say this with all due respect for attorneys, because I have friends that are
Okay, I
attorneys.
I bash attorneys constantly on
Right.
the
Okay.
podcast.
And that is not where I'm going. It's
Yeah.
not where I'm going with this, because attorneys are our clients, right? So I don't want to make
Yeah.
our clients mad. But the reality is that they just don't have the financial tools and knowledge and resources to allow them to do the work that they need to do in these cases. They know the legal side, don't get me wrong. But from a financial perspective, even my attorney was slightly clueless on it. And going through this experience, I was like, well, I just thought it's like, well, my attorney's going to handle everything, and I'm going to go back to work, and I'm going to pay my bill. And when it comes in, and one of these days I'm going to be divorced. It wasn't quite like that. There was a
Right.
lot of like back and forth, and like, there was just a lot.